Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Advanced Teacher Status webinar today, Monday, 15th of September. So we're joined today by Berta from Standards and Status Manager, and also by John Burrell, who is Advanced Practitioner from Nottingham College, who's going to be sharing his experience with ATS a bit later on. We are going to run through a short presentation. We'll have some time at the end for any questions. If you do have any questions for Berta or for John, please do pop them in the Q&A tab, and we will have some time at the end where we will get to those. Over to you, Berta.
Thank you, Ellie, and thank you, John, and thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon to talk about Advanced Teacher Status, ATS. My name is Berta Miguez, and I am the Standards and Status Manager at the Education and Training Foundation. Today, I'm going to share with you a little bit of information about who we are, who is the ETF, who is the Education and Training Foundation. We will also look at the benefits of being a member, and then we will have a closer look at the professional status, ATS, Advanced Teacher Status, what it is, what are the criteria that are required to take part in the program, the time scales, and the application process, as well as a quick overview of the developmental process and how to apply. So, who are we? Who is the Education and Training Foundation? We provide a pathway of professional development for teachers, trainers, leaders, educators across the further education and skills sector. We work in partnership with the sector, and we inform the sector as well with a view to transforming the lives and career opportunities of learners who are 14 years of age or older. And the work we do is underpinned by our four strategic goals: driving professionalism, improving teaching and learning, championing inclusion, and enabling sector change. As the professional body and membership community for the further education and skills sector, we are dedicated to supporting your professional growth at every stage of your career. As a member, you will have access to a number of benefits and also to a much wider supportive community of educators. The most significant benefits you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. We have the Intuition magazine, which is a quarterly publication where you can find the latest research in the sector. We have the professional statuses, QTLS and ATS, to support your professional development. ATS is the focus of today's webinar. And we also have the Mentor Me platform, which is a peer-to-peer mentoring platform where you can get expert advice from other members of the community of educators. We also have the reading room, apologies, which is an e-library that includes literally thousands of resources, journals, magazines, and also all dedicated to research in education. So you may be at early career stage, or you may be very, very experienced with decades already in the sector. Regardless of where you are in your career, we are always committed to supporting you and to help you continue building your career and inspiring your learners to succeed in their own careers, in their own professional development. So let's have a look now at ATS. ATS stands for Advanced Teacher Status. During the ATS journey, you will discover new professional pathways, and you will have the opportunity to connect with other educators, to share innovative ideas, and to drive that change across the organization and across the wider networks that you are member of or that you aspire to be members of. And you will do this through mentoring, coaching, peer collaboration, and reflective practice. The ATS program is very reflective and very collaborative. It's all about your own development, the priorities of your organization, and that peer collaboration and reflective practice. The video I will show you next will tell you a little bit more about the program and also a little bit more about the reasons why some advanced teachers in the sector have chosen to undertake this program.
If you're someone who wants to make sure you do a good job and you're wanting to do a good job for your students, then I think ATS is definitely the way to go.
I love helping and supporting my colleagues with their own development. So taking them from trainee to ATS is just fantastic and so rewarding.
The main benefit of ATS is the stretch and challenge with your practice and actually giving you time and space to revisit elements that you want to look into and see how they can further improve your practice.
In addition to all the things highlighted by the testimonials in the video, there are also a number of additional benefits for advanced teachers who wish to undertake the advanced teacher status program. The program has got parity with charter teacher status and is one more opportunity to gain formal recognition for your leadership in teaching, learning, and impact, and also an opportunity to continue building that coaching and mentoring expertise and strategic development. As part of the program, participants have to do a small research project, a quality improvement project, which aims at driving change in the organization. The research project aims at setting the direction of one aspect of teaching and learning beyond their classroom, beyond their department, and into the wider organization and the network. And from a more practical perspective, ATS holders are they have fellow membership with the ATS, which is a way of progressing their career as well. There are also a number of benefits for the organization. So supporting ATS is a way of improving standards in an efficient way and also in a cost-effective way. It raises the organization's profile to other partners, to learners, and to other stakeholders and students and everybody who is related to the organization. It's a way of offering additional career progression routes to advanced teachers, and it promotes that collaborative culture that we were talking about a little earlier on. Is a way of supporting the professional development of your colleagues in a collaborative way, and also in a way that is meaningful to the areas for development that the individual wants to work on and the priorities of the organization. It also demonstrates the employer's commitment to continue developing teaching and learning skills at very high level. And this is a quote very kindly provided by Dr. Anjum Nas, who is an ATS holder, and that highlights that critical and evaluative aspect of the program, and also mentions about the impact that the program had on her practice. I will pause for a few seconds. Today, we have invited an advanced teacher who is also an ATS holder and who has kindly agreed to tell us about the impact that ATS had on his practice and also on the direction of teaching and learning within his organization. John Burrell is one of our ATS graduates. John, good afternoon, welcome.
Hiya, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this afternoon to tell us all about your ATS journey.
Not
John,
a problem, not a problem.
brilliant. You're an ATS holder. And first of all, what motivated you to take the ATS program? What prompted you to complete ATS?
I think for me, basically, where I was, I actually got an advanced. I became an advanced practitioner where I was. So I'd already got quite a few years under my belt teaching, but I'd stepped up to be an advanced practitioner. And when I went to some of the first meetings, sitting in the room with more experienced advanced practitioners, I got that age-old thing of I got a little bit of imposter syndrome. I was like, do I actually deserve to be here? They seem to know everything they're talking about. So I basically just thought, right, I need to upskill. I need to absolutely know what I'm talking about. I need to know this inside out because I was responsible for coaching other teachers to be better, basically, and that's why that's why I was prompted to take the ATS. I knew that it would elevate my status and give me everything, make me feel confident, basically. So that's why I did it.
Thank you so much for that, John. Yes, the program has a coaching and mentoring component where participants have that opportunity to continue developing their coaching, to dive a little bit deeper into both the theory and the application of that theory to a practical situation. As part of the program, the participants need to be coaching or mentoring a colleague to apply the theory to practice. Also, as part of the program, participants need to complete a quality improvement project, which is a small-scale research project. John, when you were thinking about the topic for your quality improvement project, what influenced you to choose the topic? Why did you choose the topic you did?
I think for myself, there was two areas that I was really interested in. So I knew when I started to do it, I wanted something that would really like show impact. Basically, I didn't want to just do something to tick a box. I wanted it to obviously have a real impact. I was looking at the sort of AI and digital, and the other area I was looking at was sort of inclusion and neurodiversity, but within lecturers. I'm neurodiverse myself. I was starting to work with some lecturers who were struggling in that area, and they were struggling as a lecturer being neurodiverse, and I experienced some bits. So I sort of weighed up both areas, and I thought locally within my college that would have the most impact, and I'd be able to see immediate sort of change, basically. So that was the reason I went for it. I guess what it boils down to, I wanted to help my immediate colleagues and others across the organization.
Which is fantastic, and it is at the core of the program, that support of the professional development of your colleagues. And then you were talking about impact. Could you tell us a little bit more about the impact that ATS had on your own practice? What did you notice as a result of undertaking ATS?
the impact of it was quite massive, actually, on lots of different levels. I think, although it was a little bit daunting when I first started looking at it, the 20 standards were fantastic, because what it forced me to do is look at each of those in turn, and I held myself to account. I was in a position where I was coaching and mentoring other lecturers. I was moving into more of a leadership role, and you haven't really got anywhere to hide if you're not really up to scratch with certain areas. I'm not saying I wasn't, I was good in most of them, but there were certain areas where I was like, actually, looking at that, I need to improve that. And it just held me to account, looking at the 20 standards basically, and going through those, and being, I think you mentioned it earlier on, just really being reflective. I think that's the key part of what we did. Being reflective. Am I really hitting that at this high standard that the 20 standards are talking about? And then working out how you can sort of raise your game to hit those standards. So, and the other thing I would say as well, the research project was fantastic for me, because I've moved colleges since I moved halfway through this process. And going to a new college and doing the research project, it's actually opened up lots of doors in my current college for other things. So the research project has been fantastic as well.
That's great to hear, John. Is that impact that also has in your career progression? And as you were saying, yes, it's a very reflective process. It's all about reflecting on your practice, reflecting on the educational theory and research that underpins your practice, and also reflecting on how your organization is developing. And thinking about the wider organization, thinking back to when you completed your ATS, what would you say was the main impact of your ATS journey on the direction of teaching and learning in your organization at the time?
I think because I moved colleges, I know that at my old college, certainly locally, and it's sort of spread out from that, and working with other APs, we started to locally, working with lecturers that I was coaching, they improved. I'm very happy to announce that last year they won the Department of the Year in their college. So obviously what I was sort of imparting as an advanced practitioner and via the ATS was having real impact with a lot of new lecturers that were developing. And then when we went to, because we used to have the AP meetings, we used to disseminate and do cross training. I'd be able to take things from the ATS to other APs, and then that would spread out across the entire organization, just slowly level, the coaching of lecturers across the board. And I think the only other thing I would mention as well, because I moved colleges, one of the things that I've sort of taken with me, I'm now sort of on an inclusion sort of process at my new college. From an inclusion aspect, what I learned on the ATS is having massive impacts at the college I'm currently at, and it's spreading out across everywhere, and we're doing lots of talks, and it's really positive.
It's great to hear, John, that the impact was not only on the organization you were working of a time, but also that you took that impact with you to your new organization, and that is spreading in different directions. And that is a very important aspect of the program, that impact beyond the self, beyond the immediate department, and into the wider network and across the organization. It's got many ramifications that help develop not only the topic of the project, but also all that other research and all the other work that you do as part of the program. John, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon and telling us a little bit about your project and about the impact that your journey had. Thank you.
Pleasure.
So, what is ATS? ATS is defined as a professional status. It's not a course, it is not a qualification. It's a professional status for advanced teachers who wish to demonstrate their mastery in pedagogical skills, but also in coaching and mentoring and educational leadership. And they do this through a portfolio of reflective activity that will help them gain and stretch their understanding of their role as advanced teachers. So applicants need to be members of SET, and then they need to complete a portfolio of critically reflective activity, which is a developmental program to demonstrate and showcase that mastery at those three levels, teaching and learning or pedagogical skills, coaching and mentoring, and influencing the organization at the strategic level. And once that they have successfully completed the program, they gain advanced teacher status and also chartered teacher status. So ATS holders receive 2 certificates, one for advanced teacher status and a second one as chartered teachers. The program is underpinned by the professional standards for teachers and trainers in the further education and skills sector. Some of you will probably be very familiar with the professional standards. Your organizations may be using them. You will be using them as individuals. And other members of the audience may be a little bit less familiar, but you can find a copy of the professional standards in the Education and Training Foundation website. At the top, there is a little tab that will direct you to the 20 professional standards that underpin the project. In order to be eligible, you need to meet a number of criteria. The first one is that you need to be working at the level of an advanced teacher. But what is an advanced teacher for the purpose of undertaking ATS? An advanced teacher demonstrates their teaching and learning practice and their pedagogical skills at a very high level. In addition to that, they need to be in a position where they support the professional development of their colleagues through coaching and mentoring. So they are coaching and mentoring other teachers as part of their role. And they also need to be in a position where they can do research and influence the direction of one aspect of teaching and learning through that research and through the work they are doing. And they influence teaching and learning across the organization. So basically, an advanced teacher for the purpose of undertaking ATS is someone who looks beyond their own practice, beyond their classroom, beyond their immediate department, and into the organization, into strategic influence on the organization, and also influencing the wider network, as John was telling us a few minutes ago. In terms of the eligibility, you need to be a current member. And in terms of qualifications, you need to hold a level 5 or higher teacher training qualification for at least 4 years if you already have QTLS or QTS status, or 5 years if you do not have QTLS or QTS status. You need to have your level 2 English and Maths qualification and a level 3 or higher subject specialist qualification in the main subject that you will be teaching during your ATS journey. If you are delivering teacher training programs, you need to be a teacher trainer for at least 4 years after your initial teacher education. You need to be teaching groups of 5 or more learners, where all the learners are 14 years of age or older, for at least 320 hours during the program. If you're in a situation where you are in a setting where you have fewer than 5 learners, there are some exceptional circumstances that may apply to your individual situation, and you can find this on the ATS website. You also need to be in a position where you are formally coaching or mentoring other colleagues, and you need to be in a position where you have access to a level of influence across the organization in terms of teaching and learning. It's also desirable if you are in a position where you influence the strategic management of teaching and learning already across the organization, and if you are leading or supporting the delivery of CPD to other colleagues. In terms of the time scales, the dates that you can see on your screen are for the upcoming cohort, October 25. Other future cohorts will be published on the ATS website later next year. So for the next cohort, the application period is open at the moment until the 30th of September 2025. The applications will be reviewed and successful applicants will receive their portfolios on the 13th of October. It's a 14-month process, so the portfolios will be submitted on the 10th of December 2026. So in a year and a little bit. They will be reviewed between January, February 2027, and the results will be released from early March 2027. So it's a 14-month process for the ATS October 25 cohort. For future cohorts, it will be published in the website in due course. So what's in the program? What do you have to do? What does the developmental process involve? The developmental process leading to ATS has got 4 phases. You start with the first phase, which is an assessment of your current practice. You self-assess against the 20 professional standards. You will also have a lesson observation that will be carried out by your mentor. You will need to appoint a mentor within the organization where you are working, and your mentor will be like your critical friend who will be helping you and supporting you all throughout the journey, helping you look at things from different perspectives, challenging your thinking, and pointing you in the right direction. So you will be observed either by your mentor or by a senior colleague who is in a position to comment on your practice. And you will also put together a 360-degree report of your practice completed by a manager and by a learner as well and by a colleague. So all of this will be your self-assessment of your current practice. And this will give you an overview of where your practice is at that point in time. And it will inform the second phase, which is developing a plan. Looking at your areas for development and at your strengths, you will put together a developmental plan that will inform the direction of your journey. And at this stage, you will have your first session with your mentor. You will then spend most of your journey completing developmental activity, very collaborative developmental activity. You will need to collaborate with other colleagues, with other stakeholders within your organization. You will be doing your coaching and mentoring. You will be doing your research project, your quality improvement project. And you will also be doing a lot of CPD and professional reading. And halfway through your developmental activities, you will have your second session with your mentor. And then the final section, within approximately the last 2 months of the 2 to 3 months of the journey, you will put together a critical reflection narrative that brings all your journey together, and that demonstrates how all the developmental activity you have been doing addresses those areas for development that you identified initially. And just before that critical reflection, you will have your final session with your mentor. At that final stage, you will also put together an action plan which is future-looking. That action plan will outline how you will continue to develop and to demonstrate that mastery and maintain your advanced teacher status after ATS. So this is a very quick overview. It's a very collaborative, critically reflective process with 4 main phases and a very developmental journey in it. In order to apply, if you are not yet a member, you need to join as a member. Then check the eligibility criteria in the website. So all the eligibility I shared today is also on the ATS website. Then you can express your interest online. And finally, apply for ATS. The application form is a downloadable Word document that you can complete and email to our team. But all the guidance is on the application form. In terms of the fees, the program is £915 that you may want to pay all in one go or in installments as well. So you have flexibility and choice regarding the fee. One final piece of information to share with you is the reaccreditation process. Once that the participant has been awarded ATS, once that you are an ATS holder, you will be required to reaccredit once every 3 years to maintain the status. The reaccreditation process is usually an event that is free to attend, and there is no reaccreditation fee. So every ATS holder needs to reaccredit once every 3 years. And this is most of the information to share with you about the Advanced Teacher Status Program. For more details and details as well of the eligibility criteria, please have a look at the Advanced Teacher Status website, where we have all this information and also the experience of many other ATS holders who wanted to share it with us. Before I share the final piece of information with you, we would like your feedback regarding today's webinar, regarding your experience today, because that is very valuable to help us continue developing these support sessions and making sure that they are relevant to as many advanced teachers as possible. So please scan the QR code that you can see on your screen, or alternatively, pick the link that will be in the chat shortly. And we would be very grateful if you could complete the survey with us. And before we wrap up and move on to the questions, if you are already a member, fantastic. If you wish to join, you can just go on the SET website and click on the Join button at the top of your screen, answer a few questions on an online form and submit. Or alternatively, you can also join the QR code that you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, any questions?
Hi, Berta. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
We do have some questions that will come into the chat. So Joe has asked, can some of your 4 years teaching experience have been in secondary schools?
Advanced teacher status is mostly for further education and skills sector. Teachers who are teaching post-14 in secondary schools may be eligible, but they need to email us with their situation, with their circumstances, and we will be able to advise them better. As teachers who work in schools, they may want to consider the charter teacher status, which is a different program, and it better supports the groups, the age groups that you are likely to teach in a school. But for post-14, please email us with what subjects you are teaching, how many hours, and we will be able to give personalized advice.
Great, thank you. Eleni has asked, do you actually need to have a level 2 English if you have a BA in English language and literature, which is level 6?
No, because the BA in English language is a much, much, much higher level, and that will cover the requirement for a level 2 in English. So the BA will cover 2 requirements, the level 2 English, because it's a much, much higher level. And also, if you are teaching English, the level 3 or higher subject specialism criterion.
Great, thank you. So I'm just scrolling through because some of the questions have been answered by Lewis in the chat. Rachel has said, do you need to have the 4 years of teaching from October this year to be eligible?
Yes, from the time when the program starts. So a minimum of 4 years after the teacher training qualification, after the date on the certificate of your teacher training qualification, if you hold QTLS already or QTS, and 5 years if you do not yet hold QTLS or QTS.
Great, thank you. Shamamil has said, I meet all the requirements for ATS, but I have one question. I achieved the QTS via assessment only route. I've been told that it does meet the requirements by someone at ETF. I'd just like to confirm if that is okay.
It is okay. It's not a requirement to hold QTS or QTLS in order to move on to ATS. So as long as you have enough years of teaching practice, that should be sufficient.
Perfect, thank you. Amelia has asked, what is involved in the reaccreditation process?
Yes, at the moment, the reaccreditation process is a half-a-day event that usually takes place online, where participants demonstrate how they continued to develop their mastery. So there are a number of CPD elements as well to it. And participants who are unable to join that developmental half day, they complete a reflective activity on telling us how they continued to influence their organization and the teaching and learning and the practice of their colleagues, basically completing a reflective activity as well. So 2 ways to reaccredit: attending a half-a-day event or completing a reaccreditation activity.
Great, thank you. John has asked if teaching in the NHS is okay.
As long as you are in an advanced teaching position, it is okay. Basically, you need to be an advanced teacher, as we discussed earlier on. You need to be in that position where your pedagogical skills are at advanced level. You need to be in that position where you coach and mentor other colleagues, other teachers within your setting, and also where you have opportunities to complete a small research project, a quality improvement project that will influence the organization you are working for, that will influence an aspect of teaching and learning within your organization. But any further education and skills setting, including the NHS, the MOD, offender learning, general further education colleges, independent training provider, they are usually suitable settings.
Great, thank you. Samuel has asked, what is the difference between QTLS and ATS?
They are 2 entirely different programs. QTLS has got parity with QTS. It can be taken at any time during your career, but it's probably a bit more popular at that earlier career stage. For ATS, it's like 1 step ahead, or even 2 steps ahead, I would say. For ATS, you need to be working at the level of an advanced teacher. So for QTLS, you demonstrate how you continue to develop your practice and supporting your learners after your teacher training qualification. For ATS, you need to be at that more experienced and advanced stage in your career, where in addition to outstanding pedagogical skills, you also have opportunities to coach and mentor other colleagues to deliver CPD and influence and support their professional development and have that influence across teaching and learning within your organization.
Great, thank you. I've also just put a link to one of our websites in the chat as well, which has, you can see information about QTLS and about ATS as well, so you can compare. Mary has said, teaching for a training provider offering level 2 to 3 NVQ qualifications to 19 plus age learners. Does this count?
We need to look a little bit more in detail to the setting and a little bit more as well the subjects, the type of qualification they are teaching. So probably if you email us that query with a little bit more detail, we will be able to give you a little bit more personalized support with that query.
Great, thank you. Iki has said, I work for a training provider delivering accredited and non-accredited courses. Would I be eligible to apply?
We need much more information to confirm eligibility. Eligibility can only be confirmed once that the application has been received with all the details that we need. Basically, if you are teaching enough hours, and if you have that opportunity to coach and mentor and that opportunity to carry out research, it's likely that you will be able to apply. I would encourage everyone to apply, and then we will have a look at the application, and where necessary, we will ask as well for additional information and for additional evidence. So in addition to the teaching hours, you will need to have opportunities to coach and mentor other teachers, to deliver CPD, to influence their professional development and support them throughout with their career.
Great, thank you, Berta. Jenny has asked, how does the research align with phases of the program? Is it all the way through?
The research project, the quality improvement project, sits in phase 3. Phase 3 is the one that you will dedicate most time to because it's the longest phase. It's when you do all your developmental activity, all your CPD, all your reading, all your coaching and mentoring. The research project, we always recommend that is a small piece of research with very well-defined aims and objectives, because it's very easy to start researching a topic that you are passionate about and take it in many different directions with many different ramifications. So we always advise to make sure that your aims and objectives are very clear. It will run throughout most of your journey, depending on how big the research is. It will definitely take quite a few months, but formally it sits in phase 3 of the program, which is developmental activities.
Great, thank you. Donna has asked, can I just confirm if I'm facilitating regular staff development, do those hours count towards the 320 hours over the 14 months?
Theoretically, yes, the delivery of CPD counts towards the hours as long as you are basically doing formal training where you design the sessions, evaluate the sessions, monitor the program, the progress of the delegates of your I wouldn't call them trainees because they will be your colleagues, but of those colleagues who attend your sessions. So as long as they are formal training sessions where you plan, deliver, and evaluate, monitor progress, yes, they will count. CPD also counts.
Great, thank you. And Carol has said, I'm currently a teacher at a secondary school, but they don't have a sixth form college. I have a PGCE, DETLs. I've been teaching in colleges and secondary schools since 2012. Do you think it's worth me applying if I don't have QTLS?
You don't need to have QTLS in order to progress to ATS. Again, if you work in a school with students who are 14 years of age or older, and all your teaching practice that you are going to use for your ATS needs to be with post-14 learners, and also you meet all the other requirements of having opportunities to coach and mentor and to influence teaching and learning across the organization, is always worth applying, because we can always ask for a little bit more information. When you teach in a school, there are many situations where you will be eligible, others when you may not. So we need to look at the detail, and we need to look at the holistic situation and the circumstances from that holistic perspective to be able to evaluate.
Great, thank you. She's also added to her question that says she's currently looking for a new school with a sixth form and wants to know if she can carry over her portfolio to a new organisation if it's a successful job search. But
yeah,
no,
basically,
you go better.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, basically, as I understanding it, this is an applicant who may change employer halfway through the program. Is that right?
Yes.
Brilliant. Yeah, it is theoretically, I mean, from the technical perspective, yes, it is possible. However, you will need to make sure that you have a mentor in place at your new organization if your first mentor is unable to continue supporting you. And also, when you start your journey at one organization, you will look at the developmental priorities that you have. So you will need to carry forward those developmental priorities from your teaching and learning to your second organization. So technically, it is possible, but you need to look at the practicalities, at the roles you are having, at your research project as well. You start a research project in an organization, you may want to consider whether it is feasible for you to continue that at a different organization. So those are little details that will depend a lot on the individual circumstances.
Great, thank you. And then Sandy has asked if TQFE Scotland with 21 years FE and HE lecturing meets the overall qualification requirements.
We would need to look at the qualifications, and we would need to look much more in detail at the individual circumstances. So please email us that query with a little bit more background information and your qualifications, and we will have a look.
Thank you. And actually, Berta, I think that's all of the questions. I think, as we've said, if you did have any specific questions about your eligibility, please do just drop us an email at membership@etfoundation.co.uk with a bit more detail, and we can look at those. This session has been recorded, and we will share the recording and the slides with attendees this week, but it will also be available to watch on demand via the SET website.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have so many members of the audience. And as Ellie said, please always email us, and we will be pleased to support you a little bit more, give you a little bit more personalized help.
Great. Thanks so much, everyone. And thanks for joining us, John. Have a lovely afternoon.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks. Bye.